Hi everyone, today we're going to read Act 2 from Romeo and Juliet. This is video recording 1, so the first half of Act 2. Act 2 starts on page 78 in our book, so please go there now. So when we last left off, we saw Romeo and Juliet fall in love with each other instantly when they saw each other at the Capulet party. Let's hear what happens next.
Act 2. Prologue. The chorus enters and addresses the audience.
Now old desire doth in his deathbed lie, and young affection gapes to be his heir. That fair for which love groaned for and would die, with tender Juliet matched, is now not fair. Now Romeo is beloved and loves again, alike bewitched by the charm of looks. But to his foe supposed he must complain, and she steal love's sweet bait from fearful hooks. Being held a foe, he may not have access to breathe such vows as lovers use to swear, and she as much in love, her means much less, to meet her new beloved anywhere. But passion lends them power, time means to meet, tempering extremities with extreme sweet.
The chorus exits.
So the chorus is telling us that even though they are from opposite families who hate each other, they're still going to find a way to act as young lovers do, meaning to meet up and tell each other that they love each other. So it talks about how Romeo does not have the time to go and see Juliet, but he's going to make time to marry her.
Scene 1. Later the same night, outside the wall that surrounds Capulet's orchard. Romeo enters. He is walking alone after the party.
Can I go forward when my heart is here? Turn back, dull earth, and find thy center out.
Benvolio and Mercutio enter. They are looking for Romeo. Because he wishes to remain near Juliet, and because he prefers to be alone, Romeo avoids his friends and climbs the wall into Capulet's orchard.
Romeo, my cousin Romeo! Romeo!
He is wise, and on my life hath stolen him home to bed.
He ran this way, and leapt this orchard wall. Call, good Mercutio.
Nay, I'll conjure too. Romeo, humors, madman, passion, lover. Appear thou in the likeness of a sigh. Speak but one rhyme, and I am satisfied. Cry but, I, me, pronounce but love and dove. Speak to my gossip Venus one fair word, one nickname for her purblind son and heir. Young Abraham Cupid, he that shot so trim, when King Cophetua loved the beggar maid. He heareth not, he stirreth not, he moveth not. The ape is dead, and I must conjure him. I conjure thee by Rosalind's bright eyes, by her high forehead and her scarlet lip, by her fine foot, straight leg, and quivering thigh, and the domains that there adjacent lie, that in thy likeness thou appear to us.
And if he hear thee, thou wilt anger him.
This cannot anger him. 'Twould anger him to raise a spirit in his mistress' circle, of some strange nature, letting it there stand till she had laid it and conjured it down. That were some spite. My invocation is fair and honest in his mistress' name. I conjure only but to raise up him.
So Mercutio is trying to get Romeo to come out from where he is hiding. So is Benvolio. Benvolio is genuinely worried about Romeo. Mercutio is more messing around, and he's like, Romeo, come out. We've got Rosalind here. She's beautiful. Look, I'm touching her hand. Look, I'm touching her leg. Ooh, come stop me. And so he's trying to anger Romeo into coming out and revealing himself. Benvolio is like, dude, you're going to need to stop that. You're going to make Romeo mad. And Mercutio says if he were around, he would already be out here. So let's just go home.
Come,
He hath hid himself among these trees to be consorted with the humorous night. Blind is his love, and best befits the dark.
If love be blind, love cannot hit the mark. Now will he sit under a medlar tree, and wish his mistress were that kind of fruit, as maids call medlars, when they laugh alone? O Romeo, that she were! Oh, that she were an open arse, thou a poprin pear! Romeo, good night. I'll to my truckle bed. This field bed is too cold for me to sleep. Come, shall we go?
Go then, for 'tis in vain to seek him here that means not to be found.
They exit. Scene 2. Immediately following the previous scene. Capulet's orchard. Romeo, alone, comments on Mercutio's joking.
He jests at scars that never felt a wound.
Juliet enters at a window above and stands on a balcony. She does not know that Romeo is nearby.
But soft, what light through yonder window breaks? It is the east, and Juliet is the sun. Arise, fair sun, and kill the envious moon, who is already sick and pale with grief, that thou her maid art far more fair than she. Be not her maid, since she is envious. Her vestal livery is but sick and green, and none but fools do wear it. Cast it off. It is my lady. Oh, it is my love. Oh, that she knew she were. She speaks, yet she says nothing. What of that? Her eye discourses. I will answer it. I am too bold. 'Tis not to me she speaks. Two of the fairest stars in all the heaven, having some business, do entreat her eyes to twinkle in their spheres till they return. What if her eyes were there, they in her head? The brightness of her cheek would shame those stars, as daylight doth a lamp. Her eyes in heaven would through the airy region seem so bright, that birds would sing and think it were not night. See how she leans her cheek upon her hand. Oh, that I were a glove upon that hand, that I might touch that cheek.
So Romeo is staring at Juliet from the bushes in her backyard while she doesn't know that he's there. It's a little creepy. And he is looking at her and says, "Ah, she is more beautiful than all the stars in the sky. Clearly the moon has nothing on this girl. She is so bright and beautiful. I wish that I could touch her cheek or stroke her hair. I want her to teach the stars to burn brightly. I think that she is more beautiful than anyone I've ever seen in my life." He wishes that she would touch him or that she would talk to him, and he's going to get his wish very, very soon. Now, Juliet is going to go into a soliloquy, which, remember, is where a character tells us their thoughts out loud, and then Romeo will go ahead and interrupt her. Let's hear what she says.
Ay me.
She speaks. Oh, speak again, bright angel, for thou art as glorious to this night, being over my head as a winged messenger of heaven unto the white upturned wondering eyes of mortals that fall back to gaze on him when he bestrides the lazy puffing clouds and sails upon the bosom of the air.
O Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou, Romeo? Deny thy father, and refuse thy name, or if thou wilt not, be but sworn my love, and I'll no longer be a Capulet.
Shall I hear more? Or shall I speak at this?
'Tis but thy name that is my enemy. Thou art thyself, though not a Montague. What's Montague? It is nor hand, nor foot, nor arm, nor face, nor any other part belonging to a man. Oh, be some other name. What's in a name? That which we call a rose by any other wood would smell as sweet. So Romeo would, were he not Romeo called, retain that dear perfection which he owes without that title. Romeo, doff thy name, and for thy name, which is no part of thee, take all myself.
So Juliet is thinking out loud to herself, what is the deal? Why can he and I not be together? His name is Montague. So what? Who cares? Why is that important? So she says, if you were not called Romeo, you would still be the man that I love. You would still be the same person, so why should I care about your last name? And she says, why are you Romeo? If you weren't a Montague, you would deny thy father, and then we could be together and get married. Let's hear what Romeo has to say about that.
Romeo speaks aloud so that Juliet can hear him for the first time.
I take thee at thy word. Call me but love, and I'll be new baptized. Henceforth I never will be Romeo.
What man art thou, that thus bescreened in night, so stumblest on my counsel?
By a name I know not how to tell thee who I am. My name, dear saint, is hateful to myself, because it is an enemy to thee. Had I it written, I would tear the word.
My ears have yet not drunk 100 words of thy tongue's uttering, yet I know the sound. Art thou not Romeo and a Montague?
Neither, fair maid, if either thee dislike.
How camest thou hither? Tell me, and wherefore? The orchard walls are high and hard to climb, and the place death, considering who thou art, if any of my kinsmen find thee here.
With love's light wings did I o'erperch these walls, for stony limits cannot hold love out, and what love can do that dares love attempt? Therefore thy kinsmen are no stop to me.
If they do see thee, they will murder thee.
Alack, there lies more peril in thine eye than 20 of their swords. Look thou but sweet, and I am proof against their enmity.
I would not for the world they saw thee here.
I have night's cloak to hide me from their eyes, and but thou love me. Let them find me here. My life were better ended by their hate than death prorogued, wanting of thy love.
By whose direction foundst thou out this place?
By love that first did prompt me to inquire. He lent me counsel, and I lent him eyes. I am no pilot, yet wert thou as far as that vast shore washed with the farthest sea, I should adventure for such merchandise.
Thou knowest the mask of night is on my face, else would a maiden blush bepaint my cheek for that which thou hast heard me speak tonight. Fain would I dwell on form, fain deny what I have spoke, but farewell, compliment. Dost thou love me? I know thou wilt say aye, and I will take thy word. Yet if thou swearest, thou mayst prove false. At lovers' perjuries they say Jove laughs. O gentle Romeo, if thou dost love, pronounce it faithfully. Or if thou thinkest I am too quickly won, I'll frown and be perverse and say thee nay, so thou wilt woo, but else not for the world. In truth, fair Montague, I am too fond, and therefore thou mayst think my behavior light. But trust me, gentleman, I'll prove more true than those that have more coin to be strange.
So Juliet is standing on the balcony and she's like, how did you get here? And he tells her, I climbed the wall. And then she says, I don't know who you are. And he starts to talk to her. And then she says, oh, I recognize that voice. You must be Romeo and a Montague. And he says, I would get rid of my last name Montague if you don't like it. And she says, well, why are you here? Because remember, it's dangerous for her reputation for him to be there in the night unaccompanied. And she says, he says, I climbed the wall to see you. And she says, well, you've overheard my deepest, darkest secrets and my deep inner thoughts. I'm very embarrassed. And then she says, do you love me? And then she stops him before he can say anything and says, I know you're going to say yes, but lovers often lie to each other. So don't just say it, prove it to me. So now we're going to page 890.
I should have been more strange, I must confess, but that thou overheardst ere I was ware, my true love passion. Therefore pardon me, and not impute this yielding to light love, which the dark night hath so discovered.
Lady, by yonder blessed moon, I vow that tips with silver all these fruit tree tops.
Oh, swear not by the moon, the inconstant moon that monthly changes in her circle orb, lest that thy love prove likewise variable.
What shall I swear by?
Do not swear at all. Or if thou wilt, swear by thy gracious self, which is the god of my idolatry, and I'll believe thee.
So Romeo says, I love you, I swear. And she says, don't swear. And he says, I swear by the moon. She says, don't swear by the moon changes. And if you swear by the moon, then I think your love for me will change. So swear by your own self and tell me the truth.
If my heart's dear love...
Well, do not swear. Although I joy in thee, I have no joy of this contract tonight. It is too rash, too unadvised, too sudden, too like the lightning which doth cease to be, ere one can say it lightens. Sweet, good night, this bud of love by summer's ripening breath may prove a beauteous flower when next we meet. Good night. Good night.